down, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Hello race fans and welcome to Sim Racing Media. We are live here at the Martinsville Speedway for what is going to be an absolutely amazing showdown. The Icon Cup Series set up for round number 6 on the season. Got the full configuration, of course. I don't know of any other way to do it. Track temp sitting at about 107 degrees. Race air temp is sitting at 82. Gonna be a little bit warm here, gonna be a little bit slick. Seemed like some of the fastest laps in practice were set at around this 107 range. Gonna have 5 sets in the tires. Oh, and stage laps, I gotta fix that. We've got lap 60 and 120, not 600. But yeah, we've got ourselves a phenomenal show coming our way. It's like almost a full field, ready to rock and roll here in Martinsville. No fast repairs, 60% fuel window, which I heard from Jacob Malone. It's going to leave us about 90 laps to work with. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in here live. Right now, I'm rocking it solo, but we're waiting on the boss man, Jonathan Leach, who should be up in here. Alan Bergen had to deal with a little bit of a family emergency, and will likely not make it here tonight. He's obviously got some priorities, which I don't blame him for. But as we take a look onto the racetrack now, we've got a lot of drivers getting out, ready to try to get their last bit of knowledge before this race gets going. And I did have the chance to talk to a couple of drivers before we started up. We had Jacob Malone. He said he's still learning at this point. Brake bias adjustments for rotation in the center. Otherwise, it's hard to steer. A lot of driver input. Looking at about 90, maybe a little bit more on fuel. Then I also talked to Adrenaline Racing's John McNeil. He ran a long run in practice. Said it felt pretty good after about 40 laps. Less free off with the hot track. But you lose the turn in the center. It's about a second of fall off within the first 20-ish laps. But he feels pretty good. Both him and Nathan Brzezowski got out there and won an official race throughout the course of this week. I'm interested in this guy who's on the inside lane back here on the... Just driving straight through to the garage. Is it Scott Tompkins? No. It is. Looks like a plain 45. I might have to do a little update on my part. Do apologize for that. We want to make sure everybody's represented in the paint schemes that they want, that they have picked out for this race. He's pulling it into his garage stall. All right. Well, we've got some messing around. Look at that number 9 for Adrenaline Racing, Chris Mackey. You know, he's going to be quick here tonight. And 9 did super well today at Martinsville. And kind of stole one from Denny. Some people might question that caution flag that benefited Chase, but he benefited. Andrew, I promise you I'm just as disappointed as you are. Been looking forward to hanging out with my boy on a Sunday night, calling this amazing Icon Cup series. Unfortunately, you know, he's got bigger fish to fry right now, so I can't really fault him too much. However, we still have 240 laps at Martinsville coming our way as this warm-up finishes up in just a few seconds. Some drivers, like Michael Milfelt Jr. here, is able to put up 12 laps. He's got Matt Everett, who was fastest in practice, puts up 13 by the time this thing is over. It's the beauty of a short track, is you can really attack these corners and get numerous chances at it. Everett's going to stop before completing his 13th lap as the warm-up has finished. Well, we're gonna get ready to rock and rumble here as the session changes over. The crowd is about to fill out. We've got 38 drivers ready to roll here in Martinsville. One of the oldest racetracks, could possibly be as old as NASCAR itself. I believe it was created in 1948. Known for their hot dogs, which I have not personally had the pleasure of having, but one of these days I'm going to get there. These guys ready to rock and rumble. Jacob Malone is going to be on your pole, and with that, let's go ahead and go through your starting grid here today. Jacob Malone on the inside, Ryan Patty to his outside. Michael Taylor in row number 2, inside lane with Bentley Glazer to his outside. The Travis Gilbert P5, Adam Ball in P6. Kevin Bankert, Zach Lockett making up row number 4. Then we've got Scott Tompkins and Justin Bissonette rounding out your top 10. Jeff Dillon and Patrick Colby make up row number 6. And then we've got Kevin Gunther and Charles Woods in row 7. Brian Smith and John McNeil in 15th and 16th. McNeil was quick in practice. Expect him to move forward. Zachary King and Jacob Smith, followed by Leroy Koblenz and Nathan Brzezowski in P20. Brzezowski got an official win earlier this week. Jeff Hollingsworth and Michael Milfelt Jr., along with Jake Christenberry and Mike Grinnell in 23rd and 24th. Charlie Widener and Anthony Tizio make up row 13, followed by Chris Camburn and Cody Eldred. Nathan Finnegan, a strong competitor in Phoenix, with Brad Delft to his outside. Jacob Gladulich, the Drift King, looks like he's probably race control, but he's got Jake Ruel to his outside. Caden Henry Oaks and Chris Mackey for Adrenaline Racing, followed by Kyle Diaz and Matt Everett. And rounding out the field today, Fred Flintstone and Dominic Tizio. However, Charles Woods has gone to the back. So as we get ready to roll here for 240 laps in Martinsville, stage number 1 goes to lap 60. Stage 2, lap 120, and I think I've got that thing figured out with that score bug. Green flag is in the air. Jacob Malone leads him down to turn number 1. The start looks pretty clean in terms of tire spin, and Ryan Patty moves to the outside, going to be able to get an advantage in the center of the corner, taken right back by Jacob Malone, who gets clear for the lead going into turn 3. Coming up off of turn number 4, and now you see a move to the inside from Michael Taylor, getting to the inside of Patty, trying to take away that second place, and the caution is out. We've got trouble coming up off of turn number 4. Looks like Jeff Dillon has gone around. Not a lot of damage to that machine, but we will see who else had a piece of it. As we all know, 38 cars here at Martinsville is going to be... It's going to be tight quarters almost all the time for everybody. Take a look at it here in super slow-mo. Dillon right in front of Brian Smith there. Gets a little bit of a bump from that 78. Gets loose. Tries to save it. Well, then he could get another bump here. If not, he just got up onto the throttle a little bit too hard. We'll take a look at it in full speed. Go on board with that 52 machine. Yeah, just a little bit too much throttle there. I'm not sure that the 78 had much to do with the spin itself. Maybe that initial contact that got him sideways, but with the initial spin, or with the actual spin, we shall see. Jacob Malone led that first lap, got out in front of Ryan Patty. Michael Taylor tried to get to the inside for second, wasn't quite able to take that spot away before the first caution of the race came out. Bentley Glazer sitting in 4th, Travis Gilbert in 5th. Your top 5 exactly where they started this race. Zach Lockett has made it up 2 positions over Adam Ball, who lost 1. Justin Bissonette has also made up 2 spots. Kevin Bankert has lost 1, and Scott Tompkins has also lost 1. Everybody who started in the top 10 is still in the top 10. After a somewhat eventful first lap here in Martinsville. All right, here we come. Once again, Jacob Malone, Ryan Patty to his outside. It's a restart. On lap number 6, green flag back in the air. Jacob Malone a little bit stronger on his initial get-go. Patty tries to send it in the same way he did before, and he's going to get put up to the top of the racetrack. Michael Taylor takes away second place. Patty going to try to fall in before Travis Gilbert in that Vent-to-Track number 3 Ford Mustang. I'm not used to saying that. Gets in line. Going to be able to fall back there, and Bentley Glazer falls back in line. Zach Lockett up on top in that Tennessee Titans machine, trying to fight with Adam Ball. Ball in the Weather Pulse 19 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Really throwing me off from what I was watching on the Cup Series today. You know, usually seeing that 19 as a Toyota, the 3 as a Chevy. Caution's going to come out once again. Caden Henry Oaks is around down the front straightaway. To see the caution for the second time of the day. Take a look to see what happened here to this 51 machine. Take a look from behind, which I feel like is going to be where we want to start most of these investigations. A little bit of contact there from Smith. Chris Mackey, nowhere to go but to finish the job. Appreciate everybody jumping up into the comments here. It's honestly one of my favorite leagues just because of how lively you guys are. Got a lot of free Vinny. The return of Allen. Yeah, like I said, he will be back before we know it. Track built like a Circus Maximus. More free Vinny, off to a great start. Let's see how many laps we can go without a caution. We shall see. Currently we are at, I think that was 2, almost 3. And it might end up being the theme of the night. You know, we've got a lot of cars here. Currently still 35 cars on the track. Dominic and Anthony Tizio have jumped out of the race. So already a couple of guys, they jumped out after that first caution, it would appear. Already a couple of guys that are out of this race, which kind of makes it a little bit more space on the racetrack, but not much. Martinsville things, a season average for cautions is like 14. Got to pump that up tonight? I disagree. I don't know if we have to. But Martinsville is Martinsville. Like iPhone said, Martinsville things. I don't think the track sucks. I just don't think it leaves a lot of room for mistakes. And, you know, it's tough to pass. We come into this restart once again. Malone going to lead with Taylor up on the top side. Patty behind Malone. Taylor spins the tires. Gilbert goes to the middle 3 wide. Ball looks up to the top side of 3 wide. Wild stuff here on this restart. Brian Smith gets put into the wall. Adam Ball going to be able to find himself a spot. Zachary King goes down looking to the inside of Brian Smith as they're still 3 wide coming up off of turn number 4. Jacob Smith just in front of Brian Smith. Getting down back to the middle of the racetrack. Finnegan got up into the wall there. Looks like Hollingsworth trying to look to his inside while the 42 of Leroy Copeland was trying to look to his inside. It's not always the easiest thing to go 3 wide here in Martinsville. You see some lockup happening. Way up the racetrack goes Charlie Widener in that 95. Brian Smith still struggling. Gets up into the wall. Coming up off of turn number 2. Got some right front damage. Contact behind. Around goes Rowell. We're going to see a caution. Contact there for the 33 of Jake Christenberry. Troy Koblenz may have gotten a piece of that. Fred Flintstone, Jeff Dillon. Flintstone may have just come to a stop. He's kind of known for that. Let's see what happened here with this caution flag and the 39 as we see some drivers coming in to make pit stops. Oh, the 33. Looks like he downshifted too soon, potentially. Koblenz gets turned around. Roel gets turned around. That was abrupt. That looked like... just wild. Let's see if we can ride on board with him and hear what happened if there was a shift. The revs just went straight down from what I can hear, so I'm not sure. Maybe we could try this. Well, a couple more and another caution here. I do have to figure out how to make it say the number of laps completed here at with the third caution piece. I know in one of the other files that I have it says that. I've just got to figure out which piece to change. Coming back to the restart, once again, your front row from the start and your second row from the start are the same. Jacob Malone, Ryan Patty, Bentley Glazer, Michael Taylor. Green flag back in the air. These guys on the loud pedal getting away. Everybody clean here on the start. Coming up off of turn number 2. So far, so good this run. Jacob Malone able to drive away just a little bit. He's got about half a second over second place Ryan Patty, then Michael Taylor, Zach Lockett, Travis Gilbert under fire from Bentley Glazer up on the outside. Patrick Colby in the 28 trying to follow through. Kevin Banker just behind these guys in the 8-9. As we've got a caution once again, Mike Grinnell has gone around on the front straightaway with Chris Camburn. Some 3-wide action here and potentially the 55. Just didn't know there were 3. Around they go down the front. Doesn't look like major damage for either driver, but is going to be enough to bring the caution flag out. Yeah, you got the 39 up on the top side. You know he's got a little bit of damage from that last incident, and maybe he was just expecting that the 88 was going to be able to move up to the top side of the racetrack, but it just didn't happen. Appreciate everybody tuning in here live on Sim Racing Media. This is the Icon Cup Series round number 6. Currently working lap 25 for your race leaders as we see some of those drivers involved in some of these cautions early, getting some more work done, although the leaders coming up off of turn number 4 already, so they're not going to have much time to get repairs done. Jacob Malone has led every lap so far. We'll see if this thing is correct or if it glitches. No, he usually, when the pole sitter doesn't lead, it says he led the first lap on a short track because they run an extra pace lap on short tracks. So it will occasionally glitch until the pole sitter leads. But since the pole sitter has not lost the lead, the bug is fine. Biggest gainers on the day, Jake Rowell. Even though he's gone around, he's gained 14 positions from where he started. Chris Mackey, we've seen his nose get a little bit dirty already with some contact in the cautions. He's up 14 as well. Kyle Diaz, Nathan Finnegan, both up double digits. Haven't seen a lot of green flag stuff yet, but been able to see these guys move through the field. Pace truck gonna make that hard left turn once again. These guys getting ready to race like a bunch of hot dogs here at Martinsville once again. Green flag back in the air. Phenomenal start from the inside lane. Patty gonna try to fight hard up on the outside. Just can't do it. Gonna find his way to the inside for second place. Taylor in third. Here comes Travis Gilbert to the inside. Patrick Colby also to the inside. He's going to try to get a 2-for-1 here as he goes down to the inside of Zach Lockett, sorry. Travis Gilbert just in front of him. Still to the inside of that 93 machine. Bentley Glazer, Kevin Bankert. Take a look towards the back of this field. Some guys going way up the racetrack. Not a lot of space for that 3-wide action here at Martinsville, but drivers like Cody Eldred, the 26 NOS machine of Kyle Diaz making it work as the 32 gets sideways there. Gonna keep it straight. Save the car. No caution. Oh, now he's in the inside wall. Still green. Still green. Halfway through stage number 1. We're gonna keep it green. Tough break there for the 32 of Cody Eldred right after we brought him up. That is the broadcaster's curse in action once again. Chris Mackey with a problem on the front straightaway as well. Still no caution. He's got a little bit more damage to the front of that machine as well as the 5 of Matt Everett's. Some damage to the front of that Ford Mustang. Kyle Diaz trying to work his way back up through the field. Gets in front of Delph. Oh, and around goes Milfelt. Around goes Smith. The caution going to come out once again. Caution number 5. Do it that way. Looks like some drivers are going to come into pit. Let's take a look to see what happened to the 155 of Milfelt. Racing here with Jacob Smith and Brian Smith. Yeah, looks like the 78 just got into him. Moves back up the track. Gets contact from McNeil and potentially Widener. We shall see what we will see. A couple of these guys coming up off of the pit lane. I believe we'll be getting 1 to green this time by 5th caution. Currently working lap 35. These guys don't really have to deal with the kind of aero struggles that these guys will face at the Cup, in the Cup Series every Sunday. Tizio boys need to do some work on the new hardware. Great internet, bad skew. See you next week. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Tizios. Definitely get you got your logo up on the top right. We'll get your ad redid just a little bit. But for right now, we've got a green flag coming our way. Jacob Malone ready to lead him down. Ryan Patty to his outside. Michael Taylor in third. Travis Gilbert in fourth. Patrick Colby up to fifth. Into the zone. Green flag is out. A little bit of tire spin from that front row. Both drivers, but the outside got it worse. That's going to create a little bit of calamity. In the middle as around goes Tompkins. Quick caution. Roel gets involved. Mackey. Everybody piling in. Delph goes around. Some more contact. Everett's. Henry Oaks able to drive straight through. More damage to the 55. The 84. Fred Flintstone definitely came to a stop there, but I'm not sure. Yeah, he's got some damage to the front end as well. Big crash here on the restart. Puts us under caution. See what we got. So there's the initial checkup on the restart there, and yeah, the 06 checks up, the 47 gets into the back of the 45 and the 39, and everybody just trying to find a hole through. Millfelt gets a piece, Everett's gets a piece, Eldred finds a hole up on the top side. Track just closes up. Millfelt was hoping that the 72 would get up out of his way, and unfortunately nothing he could do. I will say, Christopher, this is actually the first time all race that they haven't made it a green flag lap. I know it's been a little bit of a caution fest so far, but that is the first time that they've had a caution right on the initial start or restart. These things are tricky. It's a tiny, tiny track. A lot of cars here. We've still got 32 on the lead lap. 34 on the racetrack. Brian Smith in the pits. Looks like he may be done for the day. Jacob Malone going to lead him back down. Ryan Patty to his outside. We'll try this again. Green flag back in the air. We're under caution real quick. Potentially an aborted restart there. Yeah, we never actually got the green flag. Try this again. Green flag in the air. Front row gets away strong. Colby up on the outside there. Some 3-wide action back in the pack. Koblenz has been able to work his way back up through. We saw him sideways on one of these early cautions. Kyle Diaz to the inside of Kristen Berry. Up front, it's still Jacob Malone. He's led all 43 laps to this point. Ryan Patty trying to close in. He was a little bit, well, he was actually equal on time that last time around. Go ahead and show you the last lap time of some of your favorite competitors here. And continue to let that grid scroll all the way through. As we take a look up front, Ryan Patty starting to lose a little bit of time to the leader. Michael Taylor just behind him. Travis Gilbert, Patrick Colby. These top five started to get a little bit of separation, but now the caution is out once again. Trouble down the back straightaway. Nathan Bankert, Scott Tompkins. Oh, we had a spin there coming up off of the corner. Oh, wow. So the 8. All right, that's a whole kerfuffle there. Gets into the 77. I think the 77 may have reacted a little bit to that, and then 45 is just going to come in and fuse race cars. What happened to Jeff Dillon here? Might get a piece of this. Yeah. Oh, and the 26. They both spin into the pit lane. Jacob Malone continuing to lead this race as we come to the end of stage number 1. Getting ready for another restart here. Coming up to the restart. Oh, getting away strong. Ryan Patty able to follow through. By side for third. Once again, Taylor Gilbert back through the field. You see some side-by-side action. Back towards the back. This is really where a lot of the bottlenecking happens. The guys will get shoved around, shoved wide. Trouble off of turn number 4. Big crash. 48 of McNeil is in it. The 9. Chris Mackey there. Chris Camburn stopping up in this situation. 4 goes around sideways. Caution out once again. Well, let's try to break that one down. The 06 of Bissonette gets into the 4, turns him sideways, and the 77 Brzezowski kind of drove through. Everybody else comes to a complete stop because what else can you do? Try to get an onboard angle here from number 5 at Everett. There. '51 saw. Got stuck behind the 98, had to come to a complete stop. Board with the 48. Ready gone around. Green flag back in the air for the end of stage number 1. Just a couple of laps to go. Going to be 2 to go as they cross the stripe. Like Jake Rowell may have gone a little bit too, he had some sort of issue. He's got a black flag along with Chris Mackey. Ryan Patty had trouble on that restart. We'll take a look at what happened at the end of stage number 1. Jacob Malone able to get away from Michael Taylor, Travis Gilbert, Patrick Colby, Bentley Glazer, rounding out your top 5. Mackey in the pits. He's going to go a lap down, serving his penalty, and we are on the final lap of stage number 1. Jacob Malone, he's been out front for every single one. We've got a caution. Nathan Brzezowski around down the back straightaway. That is going to end stage number 1 here in Martinsville. Ninth caution here of the race. Happened quick to that 77. That seems like he got hit. Ooh, Hollingsworth almost. It head-to-head contact. But up front, though, looking at pit stops. The guys came in on that first lap with the pits closed. Now here comes your race leader. Jacob Malone. Patrick Colby going to stay out. Go ahead and step aside for a quick moment. We'll be right back with the restart.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Sorry about that. Caution out once again. Brad Delph goes around. Patrick Colby. Race. Jacob Malone being one lap down. Should be able to get the free pass. Happened to him under that last caution pick, but ended up flat. Back. And I'll have a long way to go to way up back to the front. Caution and on what could record setting caution record. Abnormally high number of cautions. Definitely not where any of us want to be. Not fun. Involved in crashes, heavier. I know there's frustration. Hate to be that guy. This is Martinsville. Closest quarters you've ever got. Stock card. At this level. You get 35 guys. Still on the road. There's just going to be nowhere to go. Get bumped up, you're probably going to get bumped into. And if you get slowed down, you're probably going to get run into by somebody who hasn't been known. Tough spot. Green flag coming back our way. Patrick Colby, down and away. Caution out again. Travis Gilbert up into the wall. We got some more checking up happening just in front of him. Charles Woods might have gotten a piece of that as well. Scott Tompkins, Jacob Malone. Whoa, what? Got into the back of the car in front of him. Overcorrected. But we're going to step aside real quick, try to get John back up.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today, and remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
You guys saw that caution happen there real quick. Well, we were on the commercial break. We're trying to figure out how to got up it. Having some technical difficulty. Right now, you guys are stuck with just me. Patrick Colby leads him down. Bentley Glazer to side. Green flag back in the air. Age 2. Lap 24 out of 60. Patrick Colby able to drive away. Hayden Henry Oaks looking up at the 4th position. We haven't seen him up front really all day. He's up 28 positions from where he started this race. A little bit further back, you see him moved from Koblenz, looking to the inside of Zach Lockett. Nothing doing there. Dowski to the inside of Michael Milfeld Jr. We saw these guys make a little bit of contact before. Milfeld going to get down to the inside of John McNeil. Potentially a little bit of fender rubbing there. Still gets a little bit of a run up on the outside, but oh, and around goes McNeil. Huge hit for the 42 of Leroy Koblitz, almost turning over. I believe that was the 42. Yeah, just slams on the brakes, goes around. Yeah, Koblenz hit on the right front. Both wheels up on the right side, up in the air. All right, well, we're going to try a couple of other things up here, but right now we do apologize for the technical difficulties. Caution fest so far here today, but long way to go, about 100 laps. Caution. I know a lot of these guys out here are hoping to be able to get some green flag laps coming our way. A guy like Ryan Patty, Hayden Henry Oaks came in from fresh tires on 55. Everybody in front of him, with the exception of Zachary King, is on older tires. Zach 7. On the outside of row number 1, which we cannot see a very beneficial position. Patrick Colby, wait till them down. Back in the air, no. We're waving off that restart. Not quite right. Line up. One extra lap, 2. Stop, we'll try it once again. Colby, King. All right. Flag in the air. This time we're... Oh, man, there goes the 47 into the wall. Not sure what kind of damage that's going to do to the right front, but it's going to cost him a ton of time. Now Bentley Glazer in second. Hayden Henry Oaks on those fresher tires. In third, but he's got Ryan Patty looking down to his inside. Patty has not come in to make any sort of service at this stage in the race. Gotta wonder if potentially Bears taking. Caution's out once again. Koblitz down the back straightaway. Happened here to the 42, coming up off of turn 2. Oh, 45 gets down, and Koblitz slipped by it. Lap 95 under the 14th. Greek Agrowell both came amateur. Patrick Colby, Bentley Glazer, Ryan Patty, Caden Henry Oaks, Adam Ball in your 5. How they will line up for this restart will be side of Bentley Glazer, Patty, Henry Oaks to outside, Adam Ball, Charlie Widener, Michael Milfeld Jr., Nico Malone back up into the top 10 after leading every lap in the first stage. Bowski and Jeff Dillon rounding out your top 10. Makes that hard left turn once again. He's gotten his money's worth. Hey. Colby leads them out of turn number 4. Green flag back in the air. Colby running away with it. Glazer trying to get down into that hole. He's going to be able to get in front of Patty. Lines up the racetrack just a little bit, but not enough for Patty to be able to come in and take advantage. Back through the field, coming up off of turn number 2. Everything looks clean so far. Take a look back. Lockett, race winner from Daytona. Of a calamity towards the back is Rowell, Jake Smith, Kevin Gunther getting into the back of him, hitting the inside wall hard. There's more problems with Jeff Dillon and Charlie Widener. Caution out again. Side by side with Adam Ball was the 95. Lost it on entry. Jeff Dillon to avoid. Gets a little bit of contact there from the Kevin and Brzezowski. That is caution once again. Uh, 30 drivers here. 5 of on the lead lap, but just barely. And right in pace track. Little bit of extra work it back into the well, he is laps down. Try not to lose one more. Ready to double up yet a truck gets ready to move down in once again. Bentley Glazer to the outside of Patrick Colby. Paradise for the leader on these restarts. Able to drive away every single time. Time will be the same. Patrick Colby gets away. Not quite enough space for Glazer to get down to the inside. Take a look towards the back of the field as They're 3 wide there with Jake Rowell, Jacob Smith. Got Tompkins back to the inside. Down goes the 08, Michael Taylor. Rushing out once again. Got a contact there from the 8 and an overcorrection. 08 up into the sidewall. Caution once again here, Patrick Colby. Ryan Patty able to take away Bentley Glazer that time. Not forget Jacob Malone in here in 4th place as we look at our lap leaders throughout the day. He still led the most laps with 60. Ron McNeil led a lap under caution. Has been all day. But he can get up there faster to lead. Still got 5 cars on the lead lap of out in this pace car. Kevin Bankert catching up to the tail end of this. One of them. Well, it's taken a bit of technical difficulties and some stuff to work through, but got ourselves no commentator. There's a friend up here, John. Back up in the booth. John, how you doing?
Hey, Liam, it's great to be here. Sorry that I'm late filling in for Alan. Had a family emergency, but looks like we're here. We're at 12 to go for stage 2, and I've been watching the race as you've been commentating. And so far, it seems to be really a battle of attrition and giving each other space and room.
Yeah, it's been a tough one. We've seen a lot of contact so far today. We've seen a lot of guys getting sideways, overcorrecting. Martinsville has done, as Alan likes to say, Martinsville things. Not seeing really anything different as we've had 16 cautions so far in this. Patrick Colby currently leading the race over Ryan Patty. Jacob Malone, your pole sitter and stage 1 winner, gotten his way up into 3rd place. Looking to the outside of Ryan now. Malone, he's got some fresh tires. Made that pit stop after for 1 was pretty stout there. You almost don't want to say it, but that too easy car is almost making it look too easy. Trouble turn 3, turn 4. Brad Delph goes around and goes straight to the pits. 06, Justin Bissonette also got a piece. Problem there with the 31 of Gunther behind him. Bit of contact from the 6, 72.
It looks like the 06 just kind of didn't expect the 72 to check up quite as much there and rolled the corner a little bit much on him. Wasn't able to stop on the brakes. Kind of looks like the step on the brakes car goes straight kind of thing. And I believe we're under our 17th caution.
Yeah. Not quite going to end stage number 2. laps to go. John, you got to do some today. Wild to me. I didn't. Well, how was that?
Well, it was definitely it was in the 50s. Snow was slow, and then in the shade, it was ice, which led to variable conditions, which seems to be what these drivers are dealing with today. But it was a pretty great day, almost white t-shirt kind of skiing day, but falling on snow, it's a lot like falling on sand, so you just kind of wear a jacket regardless.
You had yourself a fun day on the sled. You should help with some short track action here. Icon Cup Series.
Yeah, which I imagine is going to start to, as these guys, I hate to put it like this, but as vehicles get damaged and less cars are on track, I think the racing is going to start to improve. It's worth mentioning, you've got 38 iRacing drivers at Martinsville. And this is not an easy track, especially with a full field of 38 drivers that started, which is very uncommon. Even with a field of 20, this is a tall task to keep everybody clean. And I mean, you want to get everything that you can get. And it's very difficult to increase your track position at a track like this, which is leading to our cautions.
Yeah, but I tell you what, man, if you make it to the end of this marathon and you get yourself a grandfather clock, you feel phenomenal. There's the green flag back in the air. Patrick Colby getting away is side by side for second. Here comes Jacob Malone. Stage 1 winner trying to steal Stage 2 from Colby. Get to his rear bumper. He is right there through the middle of 3 and 4. Of course, we're going to have to make it. He's going to have to make that pass under green flag conditions here. If the caution comes out at this stage, stage will be over.
For a moment there, I thought they were going to single file out behind the top 4 rows, but it seems that they're still a double at that point. Now the top 4 single file side-by-side battle for 5th between Zach Lockett and Bentley Glazer.
Side by side here for 5th, like John mentioned. Zach Lockett, your Daytona winner, going to be able to nose up in front. Meanwhile, here comes the 54 looking to the outside as the caution comes out once again for the 06 of Justin Bissonette. That is going to end stage number 2. Patrick Colby, get it done.
And the way he was turned around right there definitely looks like he had some help coming out of a corner.
Already open here for your race leaders. We'll take a look at these pit stops, and then we'll jump back to take a look to see what happened to bring out that caution. John, interesting factor here. Patrick Colby did not pit at all till this point. Talked to Jacob Malone in the pre-race and for the race practice. Said they were looking at between 90 and 100 laps. But with all of these cautions, I mean all of these cautions, I like Patrick Colby able to kick it out and not have to make a pit stop. I'm winning a stage because of it.
You know, that's a lot like it's really a statement, if I might add. If you're not gonna pit at all, if you can stay to the front. But I mean, Martinsville, similar, at least back when I used to drive, similar to that of the super speedways. I mean, if it's a rhythm track and if you can just run your rhythm, the tires don't hurt you too much as long as you've got you're out front and you hold that bottom lane. It's very hard to pass on the outside, and I assume you just don't burn your tires up quite as quickly as side-by-side racing here.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Air is king at almost all racetracks. We don't hear it factor here at a track like Martinsville, but it definitely is. We have not seen a green pass for it. Granted, some of that has to do with the number of yellows that we've seen every single time on these. Whoever's out front is throttle down, drive away.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting up to speeds around 90 miles an hour, 90, 93 miles per hour. You know, being a pilot, I could tell you, the air at 93 miles an hour is enough to change the configuration of the aircraft drastically. So that air coming off the rear spoiler of the car in front of you, when it hits you as you're trying to turn into the corner, you're going to feel that, and that's definitely a force that the drivers are having to fight against, or the vehicle is fighting against, which may be unnoticed to the drivers.
I have a point that I'm going to want to jump back on. Go to this part now. New leader Brzezowski. Heidner to his outside. Taylor behind him. Green flag in the air. Brzezowski with a nominal restart. Malone jumps up to the outside. Jacob Bissonette, who is somehow up front here after spinning out to bring that caution out. Take a look at it, but oh, a little bit of a bump there from Patty. It's Malone a little bit squirrely.
At 3 wide already with the first 2 laps into stage number 3. Everybody's trying to get everything that they can get at this point, and so far staying pretty clean. But I guess if you're a driver that's capable of winning the race, and we've already established that there's going to be a lot of cautions, you just want to get to the front as quick as you can, as there's a big wiggle right there. I think that was the 32. Maybe that was the number 30 of Ryan Patty. Big wiggle there, but holds on to it.
Patrick Colby thought about making it 3 wide, getting into that last corner there for a second. Contact from the 54 into the 06, puts him into the wall, and the caution comes out once again. Quick look as we were watching it.
Yeah, you know, I'm not so sure from that angle right there if there was actual contact causing that 06 to go around as much as, you know, turbulent air or an overcorrection to the right once he saw him in his mirror. I'd like to see that from a different angle.
Up and on board, looking back from the roof.
Yeah, I guess he got a little bit of help there. That first angle, it looked a little bit more like, you know, the old school net code or a little bit of, you know, trying to brake and stay in that high groove. But yeah, he certainly got a little bit of help right there at the 54, looking to get everything he can.
Not quite enough spin. Take a look at the earlier spin. Off of turn number 4. Like he might have got some. Help from Jacob Smith in the 4. Now, to get back to your point with the dirty air, and you talk about being a pilot, running 90, 100, 10 miles an hour, like a lot of turbulence. I mean, these guys are cornering at 55, 60, probably closer to 60 miles an hour at the... I've been on the highway. I got a trash bag. I drive a WRX. It's a hood scoop. Got a trash bag. Got stuck up out of the hood. And at 60 miles an hour, I got behind a semi-truck. Had to get kind of close. I got behind him. There was enough disturbance in the air for that to pull the trash off of my hood scoop. Same way that, you know, trash off of your front grill by getting behind somebody at a racetrack. Even at 60 miles an hour, turbulent air can really play a factor.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a change in the pressure between you and the truck is what's pulling that bag out of the scoop there. And the same thing is going to affect how these guys drive. But we'd be getting into Bernoulli's principle, and this is not really the time or place. As the 77
Oh,
catches
big problem.
the 08.
Sean McNeil gets turned around. Big trouble here on the restart. Caden Henry Oaks into the inside wall. Jack Lockett duck up against Caden.
Big 2-0 precautions tonight. And so, you know, that really started from that restart. The inside line, the starter went, And the '08, I believe Michael Taylor, it was almost as if he got caught sleeping, or maybe he was caught in third or fourth gear, and that backed the whole field up with places with with nowhere to go for a lot of the guys behind him.
Run the starter cam.
Yeah, back that 48 up was what really happened, and he got hit in the 51 and 33, a really collateral damage.
Looked like he might have made contact there with the '08 in front of him, and action has got him sideways. Take another eye above here.
Excuse me, the 48 just kind of runs right into the '08, expecting the start to be better, which just stops his momentum flat, and then with nowhere else to go with everybody else, and it's just collateral damage on back from there.
Nothing he could do in that situation, and it looks like the 93 might have packed it up onto the hauler, hauling it a break as we now sit with, I believe, 21 drivers on the lead lap. We got Bentley Glazer in the pit service, done an extended pit stop here. Aiden Henry Oaks has a black flag. Might cost him.
In a war of attrition at a race like this, being knocked out, with just over 100 laps to go, 20 cautions, really just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, because you're thinking, I've stuck it out this long, I've managed to survive, had a good car, and that gives me a chance to get a good finish at the end, as other drivers are slowly falling out of this one. And then everything changes, and you're one of those other drivers, and you're the one out after putting in the work.
Right, John. I know you're a runner, and it's equivalent. Cramp it up in the middle of the race. Nothing worse than it. It's frustrating nonetheless. You put in all this work for a tough race like.
And it happens again right here on this restart. I want to go back to your point, but the 77 just, goes much better than the '08. It's almost as if the '08 has real-life clutch trouble in that Ford Mustang, but I wouldn't expect that in iRacing, as it's opened the door for Charlie Widener. Nearly doors him trying to take that second place position. I assume he'll be able to take that position going into turns 1 and maybe complete it out of 4, as he's going to push the '08 wide just a little bit.
Yeah, he's got a run on that inside lane, and Ryan Patty looking to follow through. He's side by side with Colby. Oh, one hard into the outside wall. That's Jeff Dillon.
And looks like that's got some collateral damage to it, as you can see the smoke on the hood of that 58 machine. Excuse me, 52.
Yeah, he's going to have a hefty amount of repairs here, and I don't know how likely it's going to be to see him back out onto the race. Seems like there's time. Take a look at what happened to the 52. See if there's contact potentially from the 45. A little bit of a bump. Early overcorrected, and so easy.
So, tell me, Liam, I know you're driving these. I'm not. Do they not feel like you have a car? 3 or 4 speed back to that. Does it not feel like there's a car on the side of you? Can you not feel the car? Because I know when I was doing a lot of my iRacing with the Gen 6, it's like the smallest touch you could feel. But I know, listening to Daily NASCAR, that these cars are a lot sturdier. They're stronger. They can take more. So do you just not feel that little bit of a push to give them room? Or is that just, 2 drivers, locked into how they're going to make their corner, and it just doesn't work out?
Tough question. I feel like in cars or anything that, drive on the NASCAR side, a lot of it has to do with that kind of side force you're talking about. In terms of the contact, I feel like it's not quite representative of what we see on the Cup side. In iRacing side of things, They got to overcorrect, or we're used to seeing on the Cup side, guys are pretty commonly able to hit pretty hard. Answer your question, I don't really know. We do definitely see discrepancy in iRacing on the Cup side of things. Anthony says, let's go, Mike.
All right, so we're going to try this one more time now. Charlie Widner and Nathan Brzezowski to the front. We've seen the 77 make a good restart. This time the 95 on the outside is going to stay much better with them than what we saw from Michael Taylor. In fact, side by side into turns 1, and the same for row number 2, which is Patrick Colby and Michael Taylor. The 77 hasn't quite cleared the 95, who's still staying strong to his outside.
Going to be able to get clear for the race lead, coming up off of turn number 4. Widener looking back up to the outside. Taylor to the inside of that 95, trying to take that spot back away. Patrick Colby in the 28, your stage 2 winner, trying to get back up to the front where he believes he's meant to be. As
that number 8
sideways.
It's a number 8 Celsius machine, and we're going to step on each other. But the number 8 Celsius machine right there looks much more comfortable on the inside. So probably starting on the inside row there was an advantage for him as opposed to being on the outside. And maybe those stack-ups that we saw earlier were him really just trying to swing down and get, second in line.
Look at how aggressive that 95 is on entry. Diving it in on the outside. Going to be able to get an equal run down the back straightaway. Looks like I don't know. He let off of the gas a little bit sooner than the 08, but then drove it in on the brakes.
I'm really impressed with how the 95 is hanging with these guys right here, on the outside. And the only thing you can do is just prevent the drive off. And you just try to roll it through the corner really well. And if you have trust with that inside driver, you can do this for a while. The concern is, there it is right there. You don't want to cook that right rear or the right front, and you have to just kind of let it go. And in that case, his other option was to brake heavy right there, and he would have ate his tires, and he just had to go off to the outside, and now he's going to lose 3, 4, probably 6 positions before this is all said and done once he got out of the groove.
God, he might have locked up a little bit getting up into that corner, and that's what caused him to slide up wide. That gives Michael Taylor the chance into second place, all on his lonesome. Got Nathan Brzezowski just in him getting car length on corner entry. See ourselves a green flag pass for the lead for the time here, John.
Well, to say this is the longest green flag run that we've had since I've joined the broadcast.
And just as you say it, around goes the 39 and the 36.
Oh, wow.
That was super close for Koblenz.
I was in a race a while ago for, I think, Racers Elite. I was fast. I was a top 3 car at Martinsville probably 2 years ago. Late caution, new tires. I think I started like 10th. And similar thing coming out of turn 4 in a hurry, right in the middle. And you're making that turn, and you can't see. When you're focusing on the turn, you're not looking at that front straightaway. And when you come around, you transition your eyes down to the end of the track is when you see that car, and that's how that 42 almost slammed into, was that the 39 of Jake Roll?
Yeah.
Or Roel?
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point to bring up as well, John. Corners tight. You really can't see what's happening on the straight as you're driving through. All of a sudden.
The reaction time, foot time, data time, everything it takes.
Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in live here on Sim Racing. Yeah, everybody in the chat who's been active. Love to see that. Got a lot of people here supporting their favorite Icon Cup Series drivers, but selfish. We've got a fantastic event coming up in May, the Old Glory 500. Indianapolis 500 knockoff, not knock. Kind of our equivalent here. We're hosting 500-mile car race at Indianapolis, and we hope to see you there. Got the sign-ups in the description for this live stream. By all means, jump up on there. Sign up for the race. Hoping to see you. May.
You know, I was just getting ready to ask about more details for that, and pretty interesting how we were thinking the same thing right at about the same time. As getting ready to get back to green here, we're gonna see if we can't bite off maybe 20 laps, and we'll see where we're at that point. Ryan Patty up to third now. It seems like he just kind of comes from the top three to the end of the lead lap, back to the top three.
I'm excited to look at his chart as we moving in this one. Green flag back in the air. Brzezowski gets away strong once again, and now Colby gonna try to get to the inside. A little bit of tire spin doesn't allow him. Up the racetrack goes Brzezowski. Here comes Michael Taylor.
And just what I thought was happening before. So between Michael Taylor and Brzezowski earlier.
Oh, around goes Ryan Patty.
Just see you later, pal.
I think that was Mofelt got into him.
I'd like to see how this really occurs right here. Yep, but 155, he drives it a little bit too hard, gets on the brakes, the car just shoots right up the track. Now that's
Almost looked like he maybe reacted. 28 in front of him.
who
Pulling
checked
down
up
before he expected.
Yeah, who also checked up. Yeah, just collateral. Ryan Patty, collateral damage of just a racing incident right there. I mean, you could assign fault, but not in that one, I don't think.
Like he got a little squirrely on the entry. While we have a moment, appreciate Anthony Tizio. The TCO Designs. Tonight's broadcast of the Icon Cup Series, sponsored by TCO Designs. Prince creates purpose-built 3D-printed die-cast display mounts specifically for racing and collectors to showcase their cars the right way. More display designs and motorsports-inspired products coming soon. The perfect time to start building your collection. For the next month, Icon Cup Series viewers get $5 off their order by using code ICON2026. Check out that Icon 02. Check out. Just search TCO Prints on Etsy. Go to TCO Designs on Instagram. Check out the shop. Start building your TCO Prints. Signed by and for fans. Getting ready back up front here. Brzezowski, Taylor, Colby, Widener, and Adam Ball up into the top 5. Not forget about Matt Everett. He was quickest in practice. Started at the back of this field. He's up, trying to get up into the top 5 here. Truck makes that hard left turn once again. Brzezowski getting into the restart zone. Gonna goose it, and he's gonna get away. Colby this time looks like he's able to stay next to Taylor, though, for second place.
That drive off right there by Patrick Colby was rather impressive. If he didn't get out of the throttle, he would have sent the 77 right around. Looked, I don't think he intended to look to the outside, but gathered it up quickly because Michael Taylor was right there to take that spot. Got 2 in the wall, about 6 cars back. I think that might have been Jacob Maloney.
Malone now looking down to the inside of Everett's fastest cars in practice right now, sitting just outside the top 5, trying to work their way forward. Finley Glazer, you saw him turned around a couple of laps ago, back up into the top 10 as well. Good recovery for him. And again, we saw him sideways on in the show, trying to get to the inside of Glazer. Oh man, there's some contact there between Glazer and Everett. Around goes Glazer, coming up off of turn number 2, and everybody parks, trying to figure it out.
I was wondering if we're just going to keep this this going. You know, that was a product of a move made by that 36 machine. When you pull this replay up, you'll see what I'm talking about. It kind of a bit of an aggressive move on his part. Somehow turned around and bit him as he tries to, you know, make space right there and then shove it in, and then, you know, he goes around due to the contact with the 5 himself.
Yeah, he went
I don't
down.
know if he was actively trying to get under the 5 and just shove him up the track. I'm not sure. I mean, it's possible he just drove in too hard, but it looked to me like he was trying to fit an next-gen car somewhere that there wasn't space.
Once he got up out of the curbing, it was also kind of game over. Onion rings for him. He's going to have much control over that when it's bottoming out. Caution 24. Martinsville Speedway. Not a number of people going to be. It's Martinsville. Even seen the Cup guys have cautions. Best of the world. Can't get it done clean.
There's a lot more on the line for those guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's worth bringing up right here.
Yeah, that is true. You know, you've got a team that's going to yell at you tearing up a $500,000 car. Where here. Oh.
So sure, we got a lot of keyboard warriors in this industry. Voice warriors. All right, we're going to set this up again, and we're not going to hit 30 cautions. That's the goal. And based on the limited cars now in the lead lap, I'm showing 20. I think there's a fair chance that we can get that far.
Only one way to find out. Oh, trouble already.
I could hear it.
Widener gets turned around. Oh, a little bit of contact. .39 got in there deep. I feel like with this many cautions, John, Nathan Brzezowski pitting on lap 113, he could probably make it to the end. Might just be playing this track position game.
I mean, if we're not going to get a lot of green flagged laps, you're not going to need any tires. All you do is restart, stay on the bottom, nobody can pass you, and you get a caution. You just do that about 10 more times, and you win the race.
And on top of that, Larry Mack always got a 2. Green flag. At 90. 9200 that we heard about. That 120 range.
I mean, except it's the opposite in iRacing as opposed to what he's saying. Yes. Much more under caution than in green. We not?
Oh, I always thought it was under green. Pushing behind the pace. Oh.
Oh, I misunderstood what you meant. I thought you were saying the amount of laps that we were doing, but I see your point as far as we're talking about the tire wear aspect of things.
Well, and the fuel. Less fuel into the...
I'm not sure what kind of fuel cells that the Icon series runs here, but I know that fuel hardly comes into play at a track like Martinsville. But maybe I should start driving again.
Definitely should, dude. It's a blast. Green flag back in the air. Brzezowski out strong, side by side for second as Taylor trying to get to the inside of Colby. Colby, nice run coming up off of 2. Is he going to be able to get himself clear? Just barely, but maybe not confident enough to jump down and take that as now he's going to get turned sideways.
Oh, went to the front.
Oh, and
No.
Nathan Finnegan goes around as well.
And then collateral for, Nathan Finnegan. I thought he was going to get a... That wasn't going to happen. I almost wonder how he went around there. It seemed like he had clean track, and it was going to be a big advantage for him and maybe a couple others.
And see, you're going to see that 28 get turned a little bit sideways. Oh, he got the curb. These next-gen cars, when you get 2 tires up on the inside of that curb, the best way I can describe it is like NASCAR Heat Evolution. Hit the apron. It is... You just have no control when you're bottoming out over
I mean, it's, in a sense, somewhat high-centered, I guess. You know, for that split moment, you don't have as much of a contact patch on the ground.
And I know it's been a while since... What has been your favorite thing to race? Favorite track and car combo?
I really do like Martinsville. I like a smaller field. I like the Gen 6 car here at Martinsville. And believe it or not, I really enjoyed the Gen 6 car at Watkins Glen. Never won there, but depending on if I was in a league that I was an average driver in, I could run, top 6. And then outside of that, I liked your cookie cutter 1.5-mile tracks. I really liked Homestead, which favorite track in the circuit probably. I really enjoy the multi-group racing of that track.
Have Homestead to finish off this November 8th. Homestead. A fun one, John. Figure out who's going to win this Icon Cup Series Championship. But early in this right now to pick fame. Not going to be long to figure out who is going to be fighting for it. And flag back in the air, and don't look now, but Jacob Malone back up to second place
Ryan Patty's right back once again. He got turned, I don't know, 3 cautions ago, and here he is third. Same place he got turned 3 cautions ago. We'll see if it happens again. And that's a really good graphic, up and down as he climbs back up the, up the surface. Look at that front splitter, though. I see a ton of damage on the front splitter of the number 30. And even though, this is Martinsville, that's going to affect the drivability of the car.
Yeah, you can see it right there on this unrealistic front chase cam. A lot of damage to that splitter. You do have a side-by-side battle for the race lead. Jacob Malone up on the outside of Brzezowski. Almost clear. Brzezowski sends it in deep. Malone sends it in wide. Coming up off of turn number 4, looks like Jacob Malone, car 54, is going to be able to retake this race lead. Grab it away from Brzezowski.
And so with 60 to go, we still have 20 cars in the lead lap. Michael Taylor being the last one, and now we will be under caution for the 27th caution. And I believe you got Zachary King, Jacob Smith, Matt Everett, maybe Mike Grinnell involved. You see, get out of that racing groove right there. And now I'm going to ignore what I see with the 47. But I know you saw what I saw. It's almost as if that 55, bad moment there kind of locks it up and then just decides to stay in the wall and then gets hit by the 47, Zachary King, which is a completely different incident. 2 completely separate incidents right here that bring out number 27.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but riding on board, listening to the throttle, it sounded like King used it a bit and got turned to the outside wall. We'll take another look here. Oh, yeah, he got a little contact there with the 51, got sent low, and then when he goofed. Right. Oh, and able to get back into the race lead. 7 lap for it. No, we haven't had a lot of green flag laps. Those. You can. Valuable. Back down. It's Arden. Often why you see guys trying to swerve. Their tires warm, but then the outer lane hardened up. Grip on what Malone can do. He's got Brzezowski to his outside. He's got Ryan Patty just behind him. Flag in the air. Good restart there for the inside lane. Patty gonna get into second place. Malone, we talked to him in practice. We talked about how rotation going to be key. It's tough for everybody to get it rotated. But better than anybody else. Still good shot at. Oh, Scott Tompkins goes around. Caution out once again. 8. Okay. 5 drill that corner.
Nowhere to go.
Damage. Gonna go ahead, step side by side, right back.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
All right, back live here. We're under caution once again. 29th caution of the race. Time for Patrick Colby. What happened? Christenberry got a little bit loose. Finnegan moved up the racetrack to try to avoid, and 8th caught up. Hey guys, I know it's not ideal. Gosh. Get up and guys with Kind of what we heard. Back.
Yeah.
Able to rotate through better than those as he back up in the race lead, led more laps than anybody else today. 82.
And I wanted to mention that, and the brake bias, there's a lot of personal preference to how you want the car to feel when you're trying to get to rotate through the center. Some of these guys can, also depending on their equipment, can feel the edge of where the car is going to break loose better than other people. And, so you can go further to the back as far as your brake bias, which will make it kind of looser on entry. But if you go too far, you're going to fight an extreme loose condition, which also send the car around. Bit of a stacked up start right there for Jacob Malone. Ryan Patty's going to be on the outside. He's not going to have the opportunity to drop down in front of the number 77. I thought he did have a chance at it. Needs to clear him into 3. Isn't going to make it happen as the 77's right there with him step for step.
Up the racetrack goes Eldred. We're under caution again. Trouble in turn 4. Looks like Patrick Colby is below the 42. Well, around there. Was the 28 here. Oh man, yeah, slammed on the brakes to try to avoid running into the back of the 4. Koblenz nowhere to go. Trying to come in and serve a black flag. Hit lane in time.
Gosh, serving a black flag under green here at Martinsville is a race ender. However, with the amount of cautions or the caution frequency going 1 to 2 laps down, even with the time remaining, may not be a death sentence for your race.
No, it really might not be. As long as you get in, get that penalty, get a caution right after, your nose have a lot of repairs to take. At almost 30, like I don't know about you, but I'm in uncharted territory. Never hit 30. And, don't want to play in the league. Really a phenomenal. Here's they will fully admit that it's one of the roughest starts. Talent level. Race. The best guys to do it on Sunday night. A lot of these guys on the W. Been a rough start, but
Seems like
expectations
the
are
podcast.
real high. Back in the air, a little bit of a tire spin for Ryan Patty there.
Not really sure how they managed to make 3 wide work right there. I thought we were going to see 31, which was going to ruin the headline 30 for 30 Tale of Martinsville, the podcast. But they managed to hang on to it, as we are approaching, 34 laps from the finish here. And perhaps we'll get some, green flag laps to see who can do what. As, the top 11 are single file, as you're going to have the number 88, Hendrick Cars, Chris Canburn go around. Wow, look at the front end of that machine.
Hard pressed to find a pretty looking front at Martinsville. Okay. Oh no, all by himself too. Up out of the bottle. So interesting stuff. Last lap before the caution, Jacob Malone ran fastest lap of the race, 19. Second fastest lap. Patty. Look at the top 5 best laps there. Travis Gilbert with a 19:30. Off of the lap, currently in 24th. And again, another driver who passed a couple of laps down at this point. Actually, 1 lap down. Passed. On the top side and right. Ambert's service done. Get away in front of this pace car before we get the 1 to green jump.
It's something that you try to do a lot of times is get as much work as you can and then sneak back out in front of the pace vehicle, depending on the track it is. And bigger tracks, it works out better. And smaller tracks, it's almost not worth it at a small track like this.
Well, another unfortunate stat that nobody's going to like. We have officially spent more than half of the scheduled distance under caution flag with 125 laps. 2 lead changes. 10
That's
out of
dreadful.
240 laps complete. There. Elski able to get in front of Patty that time.
And Ryan Patty just does not seem to go away. He may not be able to get past the top 2, but he continues to climb back to 3rd. And then Charlie Widener's back. We saw him earlier when I first jumped in. It's taken him a little bit of time to climb back to the top 4, but we see him here as well. And I got 19 on the lead lap now. With the laps ought to start ticking away pretty quick if we're able to stay green here, as the 95 is, interesting. He's not quite on, that very inside part of the track. Now, that might have to do with what you told me earlier. When you get those left tires on that curb, the drivability just goes away.
I feel like it's to do with that flat underbody that these cars have. It just get too much tire up onto there, you can find your body up. There on out, all grip is lost. Fastest lap of the race. Once again, Jacob Malone, a 19:06. He is driving away from Nathan Brzezowski. Already has a 1.5 second lead as Ryan Patty trying to find a way around. Looks to the inside, down the front straightaway. He's got a little bit fresher tires than Jacob Malone. Little bit of contact potentially on the entry into the corner sideways as Patty coming up off. That's going to cause 77 to have a better run. Little bit more contact down the back straightaway, John. These guys door banging. They know what's on the line here. Brzezowski wants to hold on to second. Ryan Patty wants to get out there and win this race.
Now that front splitter is really holding Ryan Patty back when he gets side by side with him right there. When he's on that left rear corner, the aerodynamics of that 77 are helping him out. But the second he crosses in front of him like that, it's kind of like running into a wall of air, and that splitter doesn't allow that air to go around. Instead, it's just hitting that air, and it's slowing him down, and that's what you're seeing, allowing the 77 to stay with him on the high side.
And Patty, that front end damage really affecting his race as John just up in anybody I know that knows about aero. John.
Yeah, all he can do right here is to finally be able to slide in front of him that way. But I think the 77 is going to be stronger than him on the inside, and these two might just go back and forth as the 30 is going to lock it up. That's going to open the door for him. And now that he finds himself on the outside, he's in a bad place because that 65 is going to follow, or 95 is going to follow the 77 through. So Ryan Patty's going to need to try to close the door if he can, and then he's going to have to hug, the bottom of the corner. I'm just not so sure his machine can do that.
It seems like every time he gets a run coming up off of the corner, the next time through a set of corners, Brzezowski is able to find himself nosing in front, and he is a little bit of a run in Patty's favor. Brzezowski driving it in deep. He's going to get up into the door. Big time brakes for the 30 machine. A bit of contact coming up off, a little loose out of that 77, giving Patty more of an advantage getting through this set of turns, and more contact for second place, as it's a 3.7 second lead now for Jacob Malone, just driving away from this group with 19 laps to go as he just crossed the stripe.
It's the longest green flag run that we've seen I believe in the race. And that 30 just cannot rotate either on the inside or the outside. I could see the front right brake rotor. It's, red hot on that number 30 machine. But when he has to put the power back to the wheels, it just wants to push to the outside, and he just can't get off the corner.
God, I feel like it says a lot when you can see brake pads glowing during the day on a car that's got white rims. It is absolutely incredible. Out of heat at these course of this race. Here we are. Under 20 to go. We're 17 laps to go. These brakes are still working as well as they did on the first.
Let's go take a little further back. You got a battle for what appears to be 7th side by side as the front group is single filed out. At a 47 and 36, Zachary King, Bentley Glazer were side by side, but they seem to have sorted out. And for the first time all race, we've got single file.
Look back, we've got John McNeil and Caden Henry Oaks. That is a battle for position. 16th rather. Both of these drivers have found themselves overcoming some adversity today, along with Chris Mackey behind him. Mackey, however, and around goes Caden. Into the wall, the caution comes out. Like I shouldn't talk about.
Really weird how it works like that. It's really strange. Works like that for any type of motorsports. When you start talking about somebody, the short end of the stick monster usually comes to get them.
Not sure if there was contact there with John McNeil turned in that he kind of reacted to. But yeah, like on entry there, much brake. Round up. Yeah, got into the door, John, and had his car just enough as to get to back to it, and thankfully for him, he out to the left instead of the right.
Well, it was a really good green flag run right there.
Patty, Widener.
So we kind of see what Ryan Patty's got. He's kind of stuck where he is. I think, to get the finish that he's hoping to get, he's going to have to stick to the inside lane. The 77 is going to have to start on the outside of the 54, excuse me. If he could just hold that bottom lane, he might have a shot to finish second here. But he can't make the pass on the 77 on the inside or on the outside. And we've seen that, and it's kind of proven. The thing is, though, is if you can stay on that bottom and make the other guys pass you, it's going to be a lot harder. And he realizes that. But we've seen his car want to push to the outside, And this could it could get awfully hairy if someone like Charlie Widener or Adam Ball is trying to go around them. If they don't give them any space and the car gets tight, we might not be done yet with these cautions. But only a few laps remain. Jacob Malone, Nathan Brzezowski are going to restart the race. 11 to go. Good restart for both drivers. Ryan Patty gets
got up in there.
Shot.
Brzezowski a lot closer this time. Looks like Malone is able to drive it in deeper here. 10 laps to go, coming to 9 laps to go, side by side for third as Widener tried to take advantage of that messed up front end on the 30. Looks to the outside. He's got a run coming up off of turn number 2. Can he get clear? A little bit of contact. That's going to allow him to get clear for third. What can he do with Brzezowski?
The 30 did what he could do at that time, for what he had going on. And that contact, like you said, it checked him up just enough to let the 95 clear him. But I really think, even with all that damage, he's probably about a fourth-place car. And if he can continue to run that low lane, it's going to be really difficult for drivers like Adam Ball or Zachary King to get around him. We'll see what happens, as it looks like the top 15 are single file. Everybody has a job to go to tomorrow. They just want to get this thing done.
Oh, and there's some contact. Around goes the 06, Nathan Finnegan. Chris Camburn gets a piece of it as well. Justin Bissonette involved in yet another spin. When we're single file here, John, we can't escape the chaos. We're still green. We're still green. Jacob Malone holds on to the race lead. Second place, Nathan Brzezowski. He's got Nathan Finnegan in between him and the race leader. Gonna try to get that figured out pretty quick here in turns 1 and 2 as Finnegan gets up out of his way.
Into a false sense of security, because it happened 33 other times. Wow.
Camburn jumps up into the pits here. We've got 4 laps to go for Jacob Malone. He's got 1.2 seconds of a lead. Currently running some of the fastest laps on the racetrack right now. We take a look at some of these guys who have been fastest for the last laps. Malone with 19:48. He went faster as Travis Gilbert, who's a couple of laps down. Here with 3 laps to go. Take a look at some guys who have gotten some repairs done. Chris Mackey, almost 3 minutes. Travis Gilbert, over 2. Roel, almost over 2. Aiden Henry Oaks, almost. Third and King, just over a minute. A lot of guys have had to get some repairs taken care of. As up into the wall goes Leroy Koblenz. Stay out of the way. The white flag is in the air, sponsored by TZO Designs. Jacob Malone. Talked about him all day. Fastest drivers. Definitely fastest in qualifying. He won stage 1, led the first 60 laps. Found his way back up to the front, and he's going to lead the final one. Jacob Malone gets it done in Martinsville.
He sure
Nathan
does.
Brzezowski second. Widener in third. Sorry, John.
Up, you're okay. I was going to say he sure does with cars that are, stuck in the middle of the track as he comes around for the white flag, but it doesn't matter for the checkered flag, but once he crosses it, it doesn't matter what shape that car is in.
Gonna watch Malone burn it down. Malone this time, and Jordan Steve Painski making it look like it was almost 2 him. Nathan Brzezowski comes home in second place, and Charlie Widener the third place. The Mountaineers paint. Waiting for Jacob to start burning it down, and there he goes, trying to drift it through the corners. next gen cars are kind of tough to drift. They've got a lot of contact patch at the back. They like grip on them. There he goes. He's going to spin it out and burn it down. And he keeps it off the wall.
Oh, I thought he was going to try to get around the corner that way.
Burn it down the front straightaway. Little double duty. Jacob, you're still burning it down, and we love to see that, man. But we're dominant here today. You led the most laps. You won stage number 1 after starting on the pole. Found your way back up to the front. What was it like racing around everybody here at Martinsville in what seemed a very chaotic show?
Yeah, it was interesting. The beginning was dulled because of the starting on pole and kind of getting away with it with this stage win. But then I had to go to the bathroom, put me a lap down in P25, and I had to drive my way back to the front, and it was a mess. Definitely had some moments of rage and all that. Glad I somehow drove to the front like I did using the top. I had a 0x throughout most of the race, and then I had a small contact with the 06, but that that happened. Glad to come home with it. Had a rocket ship underneath me with the Prestige Motorsports car group, so it was a lot of fun on that on that spectrum.
Well, we talked to you, or I talked to you before the race, and you were still learning at that point that it was all about finding the balance, not locking up the front, not locking up. Seems like you found it, but what else did you find throughout the course of this?
I found patience. I think that was the biggest role at play here. Yeah, I had some aggressive moves, made it 3 wide, and was definitely, I think, one of the more aggressive drivers. But I felt very calculated today. I had a 0x throughout most of the races and most of the race until a few incidents there at the end. I'd say that's the big one here is patience and grit, because you need it here to drive back to the front.
Well, dude, that paint scheme almost it looked like it. Move into the Easter break with a lot of momentum. Who do you want to thank? Such a strong run that fit.
Well, I want to thank my great friend Chase Crawl. He made this great paint scheme that you just mentioned. Shout out to him, of course. I want to shout out my team owner Jake Christenberry for bringing me on board for this season. Prestige Motorsports, I got their first win, and I'm very glad about it. I want to thank my parents for supporting me. Anyone in the chat, if they are rooting for me. Of course, the Icon group itself, they've been very kind, especially Ryan, Patty, and they've helped, the whole transition. And I want to thank you guys for, making this entertaining with all the yellows that have gone on.
Definitely do our best, man, and put on an incredible show here. Congratulations on the race. Talking to you in the coming week.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
All right, and now I believe second place, Nathan Brzezowski. John, I think.
Nathan Brzezowski, only thing I really got for you, my thoughts are battling Ryan Patty. And what we could see between you two going back and forth is he could stay right with you and you could stay right with him. But the second his car with the front end damage cleared the front end of your car, y'all both continued to stall out. Is that something you noticed on the track? And how did you what did you finally find other than the contact to potentially hold him behind you?
I think I don't really know. I think it was just the contact. It's Martinsville, short track racing. You gotta do whatever you can do. I mean, I was really trying to kind of force him up in the center because he was just kind of coming back down on exit and center to get a runoff. And when you're in the inside lane, it's impossible to clear him. So I was trying to keep him up high and the contact was just a part of it. I mean, it wasn't intentional, but it was just a part of it. So, like I said, it wasn't intentional, but it's just a part of the racing here.
Well, we saw that with 33 cautions. I don't think anybody should have their feelings hurt after a race like this. But I was just kind of curious what your takeaway was on that, because it seemed like you guys would get stuck side by side with each other until there was that final restart where that contact happened, which relegated him to fourth and got you up to P2. So was everybody, in your opinion, just chasing Jacob Malone, or do you think had that been a green flag racing, would you have had a shot at it?
Well, I mean, I don't really know how Jacob Malone's race went, but I feel like his tires were definitely better because of the battle. Definitely, I just see it just from my eyes look like he can just roll center better than me. I feel like I could match him on entrance, but our centers were just so equal. Our centers were just so different compared to one another. So, I mean, he obviously probably has about 1,000 more laps here than I do. So, it was a good win for him, but definitely something I got to work on for sure.
All right. Anyone you want to mention or thank before we let you go?
I got to thank Eric's Cosmetics. If you need to get some lip gloss for your girlfriend, hit them up. You feel me? ARKC, got to thank everybody, Zach Lockett, everybody at Team Adrenaline for their hard work. Everybody at Team Adrenaline got cooked today. I mean, I did too. I just got lucky flipping the stage. So just a super hard day for Team Adrenaline. Got to thank you guys at the broadcast for putting on a great show.
All right. We appreciate it. Back to you, Liam.
Now we've got Charlie Widener. Charlie Widener up in the booth. Got a copy.
Yeah, I got you.
You come home with a third place. Not very indicative of how your day went. It was quite the roller coaster that you had to deal with. What was it like running through the field? I know you got sideways a couple times too. How was your day?
Like you said, a roller coaster. It was crazy out there. I mean, I got up towards the front and over drove the corner myself and spun myself out one time. So made sure I didn't do that again. But like the best way to do it is just pit once and don't. If you can make it to the end, just stay out. These guys were crazy today. A few guys just they'll dive it in from Bristol and expect you to get out of their way, and it's it's a little crazy out there. But I'm glad I was able to survive and stay and get a podium here.
How you racing? Give you sort of
Well, Martinsville's definitely a rhythm track. You get in sort of a rhythm whenever you get enough green flag laps to do so. Um, but you always try to between that and uh, trying to get yourself at a good position, uh, track position wise with your pit strategy. You can get yourself towards the front, but then you gotta fight for every inch, and it wasn't easy. Some those guys were going at it. The 77 and the 30 were going at it in front of me. I was expecting them to wreck, and they never wrecked. And yeah, you just fight till you get up there and hope no one takes you out trying to go for Brook there.
well, you come home in third, a super strong finish after starting 25th. Who do you want to thank? Helps you get it done there on that number 95 at Appalachian Mountaineers.
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank my teammate Mike Milfelt. He had a very up and down day too. Had a couple run-ins with one of the guys I was talking about that dove it in and expected you to move over for him, Jacob Smith out there, and um, I had a pretty rough day, but luckily enough cars were lapped down. I think it was still a pretty decent finish. But yeah, thank him. Thank Scott Patton at Patented Paints for the paint scheme. Thank everyone that does everything they can to keep this league going, and you guys for broadcasting in the booth.
On this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, well, a phenomenal race here in Martinsville. Slowed down 32 times by caution. Jacob Malone gets the job done. Led almost as many laps as the pace car. 22 Jacob, but 129 led by the pace truck. Unfortunate stat, but impresses for these guys. Nathan Brzezowski in second place. Charlie Widener in third. Matt Everett, hard charger of the day, up 20. 240 laps today were completed. No overtimes necessary. Total race did 117. Malone led the most laps, had the fastest lap of the race, and had the fastest lap of qualifying. 2 green flag lead. 5 different leaders. Cautions mentioned. Malone, Nathan Brzezowski, Charlie Widener, Ryan Patty, Zachary round out your top 5, followed by Michael Taylor, Adam Ball, Bentley Glazer, Jake Rowell, Matt Everett. Continue to go by on the bottom. But, John, before we get out of here, I know it was kind of a caution fest, and showed up. We're only able to be here for half of the race. What are your thoughts here on what Martinsville brought us? And
Well, I'd be interested to see him on a 1.5-mile track with some more space. But Martinsville seemed to drive and behave exactly like what you see throughout the iRacing, let's call it the circuit between all the leagues. It's always a difficult race. You never get out of Martinsville with a low number of cautions, just based on a lot of different factors. And some of these guys talked about it: different brake biases, different ways you drive the corner, different entries, exits, how you rotate and roll the corner. And there's just not a lot of real estate for a lot of drivers. And, virtual, it's harder to run these things close together, as I assume you would be able to with real world experience on the virtual level. A lot of the guys are driving single monitor. In some cases, there's triple monitors, but you still don't get a good feel for how close you can get to these guys, and that'll make racing here at a track like this difficult. But there's something to be said about a good, solid race at Martinsville. When you get some green flag laps in, it's some of the most fun that you can have in the simulation, and it is a track that is near and dear to my heart, and one that I'd be inclined to race before any others again.
just to kind of push on that point, Western very many cautions. Last fall when Martinsville broke their caution route. Tough to run here at Martin by yourself. 38. Had a phenomenal show here tonight, though. So that, and before we let you go, gotta quote Cletus and say, "Do it for Dale, like Biff, and of course, quote Tony. You guys walk through life. Have a good night, folks."